Well, I've actually, if you ever watch, or just happen to see like state plow trucks, you'll almost never see them back up.
You're not supposed to back up.
You're not supposed to back up, because backing is, you know, a great chance of doing something bad. And I've seen our guys back up tremendous distance, back out into roads.
I don't even back up. It's tough to back over somebody, just keep driving ahead, you know what I mean? School buses can't back up. They don't. They do, they get fired. I'm quite sure.
I just know, like,
School buses backing up. I don't know, I just wondered, because I know I was talking to Sears a couple days ago.
I just know that we had the town, before I was on town board, the town paid for a survey there, and I think the town bought a piece of property for a turnaround. And I'm surprised it's taken till now to do it.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Jerry was telling me, because I was going over there with him, and, you know, kind of talk about what, you know, and then it came out to what they were doing, and turning around, the town plow truck, turning around somebody's driveway, which,
What we could have done if we found out they were, you know?
and causing a lot of damage to the driveway, you know, because they kind of weigh a lot.
One was here, told me, just for a turnaround. Not a very simple place, I don't know.
Yeah, when I'm going over there, I really don't.
I've been over there quite a while.
What's new?
Yeah. But he said he did it quite a bit of time.
$6 o'clock, you're off.
Gas for a generator.
Are we on? Are we on?
Yeah, we're on.
Yeah, I'm glad you're happy with it.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Town of Alexandria Board meeting for October 20th, 2021. Would you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call town board meeting to order. Need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that. A motion by Mike, second by John. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion to approve the minutes. Jesse's still working on the minutes. We'll deal with those at the next meeting. Okay?
Thank you.
Privilege of the floor. Anybody have anything to say?
I do, Brent. I just wanted to give a lot of praise for Jamie and Jay and Jerry. They really work hard down at that rink, and they've been so good to our church. I just wanted that noted, because there's not, you know, we have a big convention at our church Sunday. Jerry, if he sees cars where they're not supposed to be, he makes sure there's room for us. And I just want to say that we're lucky to have the three of them.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else have anything to say? Okay, we'll move on. Number one, schedule a public hearing for complete town budget for Wednesday, November 3rd at 6 p.m. As you and I talked, Jesse, we're going to advertise for all the water districts, all the sewer districts, and everything as we did last year. So we're going to have public hearings for each one of those.
Yeah.
Which is required in our ordinances, right, Mike? We've all read that.
At least annually, yep.
I think that last year was the first year that we did that.
Probably.
I believe it.
And we're gonna do that, from now on. So, we gotta set the date and the time. We have to have a motion to schedule the public hearing. Is that right, Bob?
Yes.
For November 3rd at 6 p.m. So I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by John. Second by Mike. Any discussion? I put, on the next item, I put that if we don't get through the public hearing, or there's more to it, we can adjourn that, and we can, reconvene on the 17th. But we won't know that until the 3rd. So our advertisement and what we're doing now is scheduling a public hearing for the 3rd, which is required by the interstate comptroller that it be within 2 days of the election.
Well, the other thing too is, the budgets have to be approved by the 20th.
Yep.
Okay?
Yes.
And you're going to need to set your meeting for the 3rd, not adjourn this one. You told me earlier that you're going to advertise that you're changing your regular meeting to November 3rd.
Yes, yeah, so we'll change that advertisement, Jesse, and next week's TI soon.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay, so we got the motion in the second, discussion's over, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, none. The next item I just spoke about, we'll deal with that at our public hearing on the 3rd. The third one is public hearing tax cap. We need to reschedule that, so we're gonna need a motion to set that public hearing date and time for the 3rd. Public hearing for the budget is gonna be long. So do we wanna set this thing at 5:45? And get it done before? Because if we put a time after the 6th, that public hearing for the budget could be an hour, or it could be 2 hours. So I think we'd probably be safer to set the public hearing for the tax cap to 5:45. Everybody agree with that?
So you wanna do the tax cap early, if everyone agrees,
Yeah.
at 5:45, following the public hearing for the budget?
Yep.
Okay,
Okay, does that make
if
sense?
everyone agrees.
So the public hearing for the budget may start at like 10 to 6.
5:45.
Yes, well, we can't, whatever we advertise, we have to stick to.
Okay, well, sometimes we do a public hearing and we say regular meeting to start at the end of the public hearing.
Do you want
So
to
I'm
say
just-
following it?
Well, no, I'm just saying, I just wanted to get it clear in my own mind, so we're gonna have the public hearing for the tax cap override at 5:45, and no matter what time, if it only takes 5 minutes, the meetings, the hearing for the, town budget won't start until 6.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so we'll
fine.
just put following.
We gotta follow the
Yeah.
guideline, we gotta follow the time that we put in
No,
our
that's fine.
advertising. So I need a motion for the tax cap, public hearing.
I'll make that
Motion by
motion.
Ron, second by John, any discussion? That's a motion to set the public hearing, schedule the public hearing for November 3rd at 5:45. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None. Discussion about the effects of the special district lawsuit. I don't know, has anybody got anything they wanna talk about with this?
The only thing I had on it is, I mean, that, going forward now, is now, obviously some other things are happening, but I'm not, not gonna go into that, is, the town has generated a certain amount of money in both legal and accounting fees. And our accountant has told us that they're the responsibility of the special districts, in this case, Redwood Sewer District, correct? We also got an opinion from the Association of Towns that backed that up and went even further with a series of, court cases that they made reference to that say that that's also true. Have we gotten something from the comptroller's office that?
We can ask. I mean, there's no harm in asking.
Okay,
I just wanna read, the reply from the Association of Towns. This email is in response to your question regarding what fund is responsible for the legal expenses associated with a special district litigation. This is from the Association of Towns Legal Department. The enclosed state comptroller opinion number 86-43 notes that litigation expenses incurred on behalf of a town district, a special district, are attributed to that special district.
what I was heading towards is, this is litigation that was, instigated by, I don't know if that may be the wrong word, but a single person along with a bunch of freeholders, 40-some people. Some of those people actually don't live in that special district. are they responsible as if they were in the district? That doesn't seem hardly fair at all. It's not fair, period, to have this one particular location filled with a bunch of people that may or may not even be aware of this, may or may not be, behind this, what transpired, may not even know what's going on, and yet they're gonna get saddled with a pretty substantial bill to make this, to pay for these costs. I just have a problem, a philosophical problem. I don't know if I don't know how else to address that. It just doesn't seem fair that a bunch of people that weren't part of this are still gonna be required financially to pay for it. I mean, that just doesn't seem right.
You mentioned about getting an answer from the state controllers. They seem to be very reluctant to answer a black and white question with a black and white answer. They seem to be very reluctant to do that. What they'll usually do is give you past opinions, and my guess is the state controller's going to point us to exactly where the legal counsel for the Association of Towns gave us a copy of, which is the state controller's opinion. And lacking a change in that opinion, and I'm assuming the Association of Towns attorney has taken this as being the most recent, which would be the controlling opinion, then that's where it's at. They're just gonna say, go look here, and which is the same thing that the Association of Towns attorney has done, which unfortunately, as you said, Mike, one person started this whole thing, got other people to join in as freeholders. The part that seems the most unfair is that some of the others behind it, freeholders, were residents of the town, but not residents that were part of this sewer district. And we've been doing what we can to try to help out the Redwood Sewer District, whether it's with grants or keeping everything as affordable as possible, finding other things for the sewer plant operator to legitimately do at other cost centers to try to lessen the burden. And now, I think it's very clear what we've been told by the Association of Towns and in reading the state controller opinion is that the costs incurred in that special district have to be it becomes a burden of that special district. So now you've got the Redwood Sewer District, which has had a negative balance with the general fund for years, now burdened with in my mind, a totally avoidable expense, 100% avoidable expense. And I might mention that the decision of the Supreme Court judge is in the process of being appealed by the same gentleman and the freeholders, of which some don't even live in the Redwood Sewer District, which is going to increase this amount of money. So the bleeding, so to speak, as far as expenses, the people involved have chosen to continue that. So while all of us would have liked to have believed that the Supreme Court judge put this to rest once and for all, I think we all were realistic enough to realize that it probably wasn't going to happen, and we've been given copies of the paperwork. So the decision in Watertown is being appealed to the appellate division. So these amounts and these expenses that have been incurred, as you mentioned, Mike, are going to continue. They're going to get even larger.
Well, I have a great concern about what's financially happening to this district. I have from day one, the first day I was on this board, and I know through the work of this board that we have been able to bring that debt down to, I think it was around in the 70s, from over $100,000 down to around 70,000. Now we're right back to around 150 and climbing.
Right.
So one of the things that I want to add in relation to what both of you are saying is that So that district had been in the red for quite a few years. I want to say going back to 13 or 14, I'm not sure. The last 2 years, that district has been in the black, I believe. And
Well, we've been
to go
able to-
along with what Mike's saying, because that district has been in the black, because of this board's efforts to cut expenses, to find other work for the operator, and some grants that we've applied for, one of them of which we've got now, that district has been in the black and has been paying that debt down, because the requirement of the comptroller is any amount that we're in the black cannot go into the fund balance. It has to pay the debt first. And that, they've been very clear about that, and so is our account. So I'll let you.
But I mean, just, again, I would imagine, you know, the 200+ customers over there, I would venture to say about half of them are not fully aware of what has been transpiring, and yet all of them are gonna get burdened by this.
Yeah.
And about a third of the freeholders that were involved in this lawsuit are completely unaffected by this financially.
Right.
I just find it's like a death spiral, horrible, you know, worst possible case situation that shouldn't be happening, but yet it is.
And the big problem is, I think, when the sewer rate goes up, which it may have to, the board's gonna get blamed for that.
Well,
And we did not do it.
just struggle, you know, we've asked the town's attorney if it at all possible to go after these 43 people, and we've been told, I accept everything you say, that it's just not possible. And so, this is a frustrating,
Right.
no-win situation.
All the progress the last 2 years is gone, and we're now in worse shape than it was.
It's just,
As far as the debt, total debt.
and like you said, it's still going.
Yeah.
It's still, and it's with no real idea if and when it's ever gonna stop.
Right. Stacy?
It seems to me that, the responsible thing for the board to do would be somehow, because Mike, you just said it, that, you know, the majority of people are unaware as far as what's been going on, is to come up with some sort of means of notifying the public as to what's going on. So whether it's something in the paper, a mailer going out, I think you will do the public a disservice if you don't get it out there, even more, besides just discussing it here at the board meeting.
It didn't go on the sewer bill this time, did it?
No.
But by ordinance, don't we have to have a hearing each year to set the rate for the ensuing year?
Yes.
Yeah, at the minimum one time a year.
Right.
And
that did not happen for years and years and years.
No, didn't happen.
Right. And that will certainly be a topic of discussion.
Like Brent said, I think last year was the first time we did it, but like the subject I'm talking about right here, we couldn't discuss it because we didn't know what it was.
Right.
And now we do.
Yeah.
I mean, we had many a public meeting where, Mike, you showed your figures on that screen. They weren't public hearings, but they were public meetings where you showed the figures that you came up with that showed the problem of Redwood. And that's why the board reacted with the rate increase that we did. And
it took care of it.
Yeah, right.
I mean, and that did what it was supposed to do. I mean, people, I'm sure, you know, nobody wants to have the bill increase. I understand that totally. But it took care of the problem, which I think people would agree with that. This is taking care of a problem that like you say, that didn't have to happen. Right. This was completely avoidable.
As John has said numerous times in the past, if they had just increased the cost 2% a year, each year, you wouldn't have had this sticker shock where we had to come with a new amount.
Yeah.
40%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
But anyway, it's just
very sad situation.
I express my frustration in this, and
there's no end in sight.
Well,
no.
Well, it encouraged people that have questions, please come and ask.
Right.
No.
Anybody else have anything on that? Okay, we'll move on to the next item, number 5, discussion on the cannabis. And if everybody is ready to make a decision tonight, we have until December 31st to make that decision.
Is anybody's opinion gonna change?
I don't see any point in putting it off.
Not mine's not gonna change.
Yeah.
The proper process here, Bob, is aren't these two separate items, or are they one?
Either one, it's the local law that opts out of the cannabis law
Well, the retail dispensaries and the,
and the hookah bar, or whatever. Hookah bars.
right, that's a visual.
So we just need a resolution, a motion and a second, and a roll call vote?
Didn't we,
An introduction of a local law already and a second. You had your public hearing.
Yeah.
You can just call the question on the local law.
right, that's what we're voting on, what was brought
That's right, so
prior.
it'll be a roll call vote.
Okay,
Everybody okay with a roll call vote?
yep.
Okay.
No, a yes on this is opting out.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say, are you gonna say that first?
Let's get that
Okay.
one straight. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna.
I saw you looking at it like
I was like, wait a minute, okay.
So this is for a yes vote to opt out.
Correct. That's the way it's worded.
Okay. Supervisor Brent Sweet,
Yes.
Ron Thompson,
Yes.
John Stein,
Yes.
Mike Bayes,
Yes.
and Sandra Caputo is absent.
Motion passed.
Motion passed.
Okay.
I might add that I believe the, clock starts ticking now. If any of the residents of the town want to force a permissive referendum, is that what it's called?
That's right, they have 45 days to file a petition, seeking a public referendum on the question of whether there should be cannabis sales in the town.
Okay, so that starts today.
Starts.
Which if they were successful with that, that would be on the ballot next November.
Yes,
Okay,
Let everybody vote on it, not just us five.
that's right.
right. Which we wanted to do
Correct,
from the
that's it.
start. Right,
And regardless of what you hear, there is no opportunity for the board to decide they want a public referendum.
right,
Subject to the permissive referendum rules of a local law.
right.
Okay.
And
Once
40,
you opt in, you can't get out, right? So we're opting out.
we have, yeah.
You have opted out.
But 46 days from now, then that window closes.
And we can file the local law, it's done.
Okay.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Mr. Campany. Way up on the agenda, number 6, town engineering.
Holy
Get
cow.
them in, get them out.
You're ready.
Real quick, not a lot to report, Route 12 sewer, we finished the borings for the DOT permit last week. Everywhere we have a boring underneath the road, we had a horizontal bore, we had to take vertical probes to show that there wasn't rock. So those were done in the survey, the pre-bore surveys were done, today.
Is that what I see them out there working on now?
Correct, yep, Joe finished those
On
up
12.
today, yep. So that's all part of the DOT permit to allow us to punch under. We're making some changes at, the request of Bob Grumman at Pinehurst. So we had to do a little more survey work, and he wants to include service to some of his cottages that are down by the river that were in the district. But that wasn't originally he didn't want that, and then he changed his mind. So we're making those plan changes. I think I tried to call Joe Russell, I think he's out of town on vacation. But we need his certificate of title and then we can go to bid, so.
Del Ramo said today that he got the last 2,
Okay,
what are they called, essential or?
Critical.
the critical easements,
Yeah,
yeah.
he said he got the last 2.
So we gotta get Joe to sign off on them and then we can do bid. So I think we're in pretty good shape there. I'll get with you and we'll pick a bid date at some point.
We applied for 3 grants from the Northern Regional, and that date, they will tell us, is that November, December?
You should have already gotten a notice. I think they sent their notices out already, whether you got it. Oh, Northern Regional, yes. The, CFA grants that we applied to, you're talking about in July.
3 of them.
Yeah, Route 12 wasn't part of that, right? It was Otter Street, Redwood, and, the Redwood Trail.
Trail and sewer and.
Trail, sewer, and then Otter Street sewer. They usually are made in December, I think, those announcements.
December?
December.
Yeah. Okay.
so they'll be coming out. Goose Bay Boat Ramp, I also think we're all set to go out to bid there. Gotta double check and make sure we got all our permits, but, I think we're just waiting for 100% design approval from the Ready Commission, and then we can bid that little boat ramp parking lot. So, I think that's it, right? Anything else? Did I miss anything? Oh, we still have to get this district formation straight around on Route 12.
Right.
Whether to include the whole parcel or not, and how to assess.
You know, we had a meeting this morning, and then a lot of discussion on that, a lot of, on Ala Presti's lot line revision thing there, you know.
You and I can talk offline on that, but
Yep.
we should, maybe you and I can get together next week
Yeah,
and
well, you know,
try to nail that.
the artificial line, you know, we'll have to back up a little bit, is, you know, our last meeting, we passed a bunch of resolutions, and the capital portion of the districts are gonna show up on everybody's annual tax bills, and they're applied towards the tax map parcel, the whole parcel. Well, here we have a situation, especially in Route 12, where we have this line that goes through, and you could have a parcel that is, in some cases, pretty long, and it's only the first, I don't know, what, 200 feet, 400 feet, something like that.
Right.
So, there's no distinction, though, when these people receive their bill, whether, you know, either side of that line, they're paying for the whole, you know, as if it's in the entire parcel. So here we have a situation where, unless we move that line, which I advocate that we do, because we're just gonna create a future problem for ourselves, where somebody comes along and wants to develop that property, and they're on the wrong side of this line, even though it's all the same parcel, and I've been paying all along on the capital for this thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, they could turn into a real messy situation we could avoid.
That's fine, we just need to nail down and get the process going.
Right, okay,
Yep,
you know, I could see that as a future
sure.
fight that we can avoid right now. That's it.
So, right?
Yeah.
You good?
I'm good.
Yeah, any questions? I am working with Jay too on the Redwood, there's a few things at the Redwood sewer that, the UV replacement, we got a UV, unit that needs to be replaced in Redwood, and then we got this 125 SAM grant, 125,000. Jay got an original quote of 15 or 18,000, and then he got a revised quote of 28,000 or something. It went up significantly, so now we're trying to get other vendors to give us prices to see if we can't bring that down. So, I haven't talked to Jay.
Because we'll be over the 125.
This is on the 125, yeah, so I'm working with him on trying to get some other
And the
prices.
price that went up was on the lights?
The UV lights.
Yep.
Yep. So anyway, I'm still working on it.
Yep. Okay.
I did send a letter out to Ken Bivens too. Didn't get a response back from him that he received it. I sent it to Ken and the resident, Matt Bush.
Yeah, Bush.
So, it's gone, it's out, I had.
REs don't typically, you know, drive things like that.
Right.
So, I mean, you gotta start at regional director, making its way down to the planning department. You just gotta need Scott Doctor, I don't know if he's still there.
Scott's getting ready to retire, but.
Yeah, one of those, that's
But
kind
Matt initiated this through Mike, so that's why I
Well,
can't send it to Matt.
maintenance tends to be on the reactionary portion of, and his reaction is, I've said the exact same thing a million times, pre-73. You know, anything that was in place before 1973 belongs to municipality that happens to be in this case, it's us. But my argument has been from day one, there is no closed drainage system there. It's just a pipe underneath the road.
So if we wanna reach out to whomever,
Yeah.
now's the time.
Aren't you waiting for a reply?
Yeah,
We
I haven't
should,
gotten a reply.
And this is the second or third time we've done this?
Yep,
First time with this guy though.
first time with this
Oh.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we went down there, you and me went down there and talked to Bob Curtis, who was a design engineer at the time. He's now retired. And my point is, a lot of the people that were there before aren't there now. It might not be a bad thought to go down and talk to the people that are there now.
Sure.
and we went out there and Mike knew quite a few people there, and we went to one floor, and then we went to the next floor. We ended up just kept going up.
Yep.
And we actually finally got to the top guy, one of the top.
Well, we talked to the regional maintenance engineer, who's also retired, and I know
Who was very receptive to our situation.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Greg
maybe we gotta
Grimshaw.
do that again.
You remember Greg Grimshaw? Yep, good guy. But they're all new, but I also happen to know who they are, so.
Okay, so if you wanna, think that we should go do that, Mike.
I think it can't hurt. The worst I can say is no. That's what I always say.
Should we call before we go?
Let me reach out to them and see if I can schedule
Okay.
something.
Okay, is that everything, Rob?
That's it.
Water report.
Done my weekly, monthly, reports and testing and stuff, we just did a, quarterly billing, everything went good. In the DPW, we've been working with Jerry at the rink, off at the transfer site as needed. I don't know, did Jay send the report or no?
No, he didn't.
He
I
said
called him,
sick.
he sounds pretty sick.
Yeah, I know. So, with the sewer, we pumped the, two large septic tanks, all the sludge water down. As far as pump calls, I'm not 100% sure what we had. So, that's about it.
Okay. Thanks, Jamie. So that's water, sewer. Did you get something from Jerry?
Yeah, I got something, let me read it.
Yeah.
Rink report here, ACS Booster Club held a cornhole tournament on Sunday, October 3rd, and then the compressors were started at 3 p.m. that day, so when we closed out that, we went into winter operations. The ice was ready for skaters on October 14th. Since the opening, we have rented 20.5 hours of ice time, so between the 14th and today, 20.5 hours, so that's, what's that, 6 days? Pretty good. The Watertown Wolves will have a scrimmage on Friday night at 7 p.m. I don't know if people are aware of that, but that'd be not a bad thought to go, see what's going on, and, see what watch this team. Our most recent hire, Dennis Martin, who's been working up here at the transfer site during the winter months, will be helping down at the rink whenever possible. We'll be helping with ice rink this season. When not needed, it'll be at the transfer site. Jay Gaskin made repairs at his welding shop, his home personal welding shop, on one of our nets and on the edger for the Zamboni. Jamie, Jay, and Dennis help with the painting the ice surface, so prior, as they're building up the ice. And, nice to say is all the compressors are online and working the way they're supposed to. So the problems we had last fall, or last spring rather, have since been resolved.
I see by looking at our chart on our website as far as the rentals, that we've got 2 or 3 new,
Yes.
completely new groups
Yep.
that are renting. So that's very positive.
Very positive.
Yeah.
And we're getting some of the rentals are, most of our rentals tend to be in the afternoon. And I don't know, back when I played, we had practices like before school, but anyway, which is unfortunate they don't do that anymore. But we're starting to get some rentals in the earlier part of the day, which is good, because the ice is still sitting there, might as well use
I was
it.
gonna say, the Wolves were here for 2 hours the other morning,
Right.
practice.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Something that we talked about during budget, and we talked to Jerry about and everything, is that we had wanted to raise the rates for all the ice rental rates per hour, and we decided that we were gonna do it after first of the year, or on the first of the year. Is everybody still in favor of that? And if so, we're raising it $5. I don't think we've raised it in quite a while.
Yeah.
It's across the board, each category goes up 5.
Yeah.
Evenly. Okay.
Yeah, that's,
So if everybody's in favor of that, I
I'll
need
make
a
that motion.
motion by Ron,
I'll
second by Mike.
Yeah.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Our rates are still very, very competitive compared to
Yep.
other regular rates, so it's not like we're.
DPW, Jamie, you touched on that. You don't have anything else, right? No. Zoning report, start work sessions, short-term rental. Mike Shavsky had given me some information on short-term rentals from some communities that he's very familiar with. And I passed that information that he gave to me on to our zoning and planning board, zoning department. And I spoke with Rich Clerk on Monday night when we had a meeting here, and they're gonna start reviewing the short-term rental information that we have from other communities, and this will be a long process. If everybody's watched, I think it was 3 Mile Bay or whatever, they tried to institute new regulations a year ago, and they had their first meeting, and it got thrown out of their first meeting, because the people that were there were all people that had VRBO houses. So, you can see, I think everybody knows that this town's had a lot of, new purchases of properties, and a lot of them are for rental purposes. So this is a process. I get phone calls from year-round residents that live on the river or in areas where the houses around them are all rentals. And they have big problems with the fact that people come up and they rent a house for the weekend, for Saturday and Sunday night. It's a 4-bedroom house. They have 4 couples that come and rent it. They come in 4 vehicles, and they party late at night, and they're loud. And I get phone calls about that all the time. So it definitely is a problem, and we need to start addressing it. It's gonna be a long process. So I just giving you all an update on that I passed that stuff on to them, and I think they're going to work on a committee and start working on creating regulations. Youth program report, Stacy?
So happily, we have now, hired 1 coordinator, out of the 2 that we're looking for. Her name is Maria Valdivia. She's a resident of Redwood. She has, children of various ages. I think her youngest are actually in the program right now. But her older children have been in the program, so she is, and it's all their athletes, and they've participated in all the sports, so she at least is very familiar, with the sports and with what the program has been in the past, so we are very excited to have her on board. We have one other candidate, that I'm gonna be talking to tomorrow night, so we'll see how that works out. Basketball, we have not really started yet. We have, sign-ups are out there, but we haven't really started any practices yet for a couple of reasons. One is the school is still waiting, to hear from the CDC on guidelines regarding outside groups using the, facilities, and we are still trying to recruit coaches. However, Maryland was able to secure with the Redwood, or with the Reformed Church rather, use of their gym for Saturdays, which would be ideal for the younger kids. So, and once we finish the sign-ups and we recruit coaches, we may look to use the gym at the church instead of the school. Maria has reached out to the Redwood Fire Department to see about using the gym over there and what kind of condition it's in, and if it even has nets, but it may work out that it might be good for practices, not necessarily for games, because I don't think it's big enough or set up for games, but at least it might give us a place to practice. And if we can't use the school gym, then once games start in January, we just will schedule all the games away instead of home, which we have had to do, in the past. I did want to touch base with you on the storage shed. Brent, I think you and I had talked a couple weeks ago that it needs some insulation or something to become more mouse-proof and rodent-proof, so that we can keep things in good condition in there. So I don't know if that's something that can get
We gave Val a key today.
Okay.
Okay, and I think what needs to be done is that we gotta take everything out of that in order to make it mouse-proof,
Yeah.
or try to make it mouse-proof.
Yeah.
So we gotta watch the weather and pick a day and pull everything out of there, and we can ask our DPW crew, to go in there and you know, I see the foam that you can buy at the local hardware stores that is rodent proof.
Yep.
Unless somebody's got some better ideas as to how to handle that. Those are my thoughts, to go in there and hit every seam, everything.
Kind of along with that, because I know one of the things that's in that storage shed is, a ball pitching machine. Now, we went up to the hack field a few weeks ago, and I didn't realize this, but behind one of the dugouts, there is a very nice storage area behind the dugout. Those dugouts are all concrete, and so there's a nice storage area with big double doors. So I don't know, if those doors have, you know, if there's a key around, or if we can put a padlock on there.
That's what I was gonna ask, is it lockable?
Like I said, I didn't, it looks like there's only a knob key, but there's steel doors, and you should be able to drill a padlock.
Talking with Jay and Jamie, the paint, wherever that paint was stored got broken into, and the paint got taken, and that was what was put all over the inside of the porta-john.
Right.
They ruined some stuff up at the hack field too, the kids.
I believe it's lockable, so.
Can we make it lockable? Can we make it secure?
We put a padlock on it, you know, probably a deadbolt.
So, to me, if we're emptying out this shed to insulate it, some of the things like the ball pitching machine would be ideal for going up there, which would give us more room in this shed.
Yep.
And, you know, we could then, you know, we decide if there's anything else that can go up there. We probably wanna look at getting some shelves for inside that storage area as well. And I don't know, down the road, we may, if we find that we have vandalism issues, I would suggest, you know, for not much money, you can get those cameras that record, you know, motion, and put those around the area. And I just want to touch base on one more thing regarding the fields. I know we're waiting to start work on the fields here until the spring. But when we met with Maria last week, we were talking to her about the Hackfield, because she's a parent and she was attending games up there. And her opinion is that most of the parents actually like the Hackfield. So our thought was to put some money into the Hackfield and just to spruce it up a little bit, bring it up to snuff, get some additional team benches, and maybe some spectator bleachers, and you know, whatever else is gonna be required to, you know, like I said, spruce it up a little bit. And because there's 2 fields up there, and this past year we only used one, because only one field was really set up, you know, that had the proper backdrop and benches and whatnot. The other fields, the backdrop is kind of broken and there's no benches, but we could really have 2 fields up there, and there's plenty of parking, and then the field here could be used for soccer.
Yep.
And those kids that use the spray paint, they were spray painting even the stop signs in Redwood. And, I think it needs to be told that they'll be in trouble for that, Brent. There's no excuse for it.
Okay. Okay, then, we'll move on to the, Highway Superintendent report. The intersections on Elm and Second Street are ground. We're waiting for the paving crew. I believe the paving crew is scheduled for tomorrow, if it doesn't rain. All the gravel roads that we plow have been graded. They put a new turnaround that's been built on Stump Road on Wellesley Island. We have a few towns that help out with the paving and surface treatment. After that, the men will be starting to tear the trucks down and get them ready for winter. That's what I have for the highway report. ACS Booster Club requests to add them to the returnable split of dollars at the transfer site. Anybody have any comments or knowledge or anything about the ACS Booster Club?
Is the Booster Club, I'm just asking, I'm not making any comment whatsoever, Are they supported by the school in any way, shape, or form?
Shuki was looking at this today, and he came to talk to me about it, and he told me that the Booster Club is supported by they get money from the backpack, and he named a couple things, and, I don't really know much about it. Maybe we should look into this a little bit before we make a decision.
Right, I'm not saying yes or no, I'm just saying, like, the organizations we currently support aren't supported by the school or anything else other than themselves. You know,
And we also go back to the formula that Ronnie helped us create, that would be involved in what we give them.
Sure.
Are they 20 people, or are they 100 people, you know?
Yeah, it'd be nice, nice if they gave us kind of a summary of
Yep. We'll ask
their
them for
operation.
like a proposal in a summary.
Yeah.
Yep. If you can remind me of that, Jesse, we'll contact you, getting some more information from you, okay? Tim Helmer report on number 16, I think I put it in front of everybody, I believe it's 30 pages long. It's something that you're all gonna wanna look at. He spent a lot of time putting this together. He's got some good ideas. There's a few things that he didn't realize, because one of his ideas is about the Jeanette gas station, I'm gonna call it, and that obviously has been torn down, been remediated, and been sold at auction. And that's owned by obviously a taxpayer who now pays taxes,
Yeah, but it's currently
which was
for
our
sale.
goal.
It's currently for sale.
Yeah, and you're right, it's currently for sale. But he's got a lot of other things in here. And I just think if everybody would take a look at this and maybe come back at the next meeting and tell me what you like, or what you think that we can do in relation to his report. He spent quite a bit of time putting that together, and he came here, and I spoke with him for probably half an hour, 45 minutes, and went through the report with him completely, just looking at what he had put together. Fire district agreements, Bob edited the fire district agreements, and sent them on to me, and we're gonna review them, make sure we're happy with them. You've done that, and I could send those out.
No,
Oh, no, I'm sorry, you need the boundaries.
I've only done it for the portion of the district that's on Wellesley Island.
Orleans.
With the town of Orleans, and, you know, I've got a good draft on that. If anybody wants a copy, I can hand them out. What I don't understand are the Pleasant Fire District and the Redwood Fire District and what they cover, and I know there's an agreement with the village fire department, and I don't know who's doing what. I'm happy to write the agreements, but I don't understand.
Do we have old agreements, Jesse?
Yes, we do.
Okay, well, if you can get them to me, I'll be glad to work on them.
Yeah.
Did they work out their issue of a couple of meetings ago? Remember, there were people here who were concerned that one of the fire departments couldn't get to them or whatever.
I haven't heard what's going on with that. I know they were scheduling a meeting amongst themselves.
I guess it's gonna be decided, after election, somewhere's the first part of November.
Yeah. Okay.
So that might change
Yep.
our agreements depending on what the departments themselves can work out, wouldn't it?
If you've got enough copies there, you can pass them out. Otherwise, you can email them to us tomorrow.
Yeah,
You
right.
got copies there? Yep.
This is a draft, it hasn't been presented to Orleans at all, so it's just for kind of our purposes.
Yep.
Is that draft different from the one, because I sent you the one that you have? It is different. Because the ones that I
Did you
sent you
get
are
the-
the only ones that we have.
That's why I was confused, because we've got more specific than
Right,
we had agreements.
right, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Jesse, did you get the agreement from Orleans that they sent us? About a week ago?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't. I'll remind you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's where we are with those, we'll look at this one, if everybody is okay with it, I can pass this on to Orleans and ask them to take a look at it.
Yeah, it's just a draft, it's not
Okay.
taking a position, it's just a
Yeah.
starting point.
Okay, and then Jesse's gonna get you the other agreements, the old agreements we have for the other districts, and we'll go from there.
Right, we just need to work through so that everybody understands who's doing what.
Yep.
I can put it in contract form, that's easy.
Did I hear you to mention something about district boundaries are changing?
No,
Okay, all right.
No.
I didn't think you, I did, okay.
Bob had called me and asked me about, he needed some
Well,
description, was it?
we have a fire protection, we have fire districts and we have a fire protection district. Fire protection district, as I understand it, contracts with at least 2 fire departments, right? I don't know whether whether the fire protection district is divided into which department has responsible for which part of the fire protection district. I don't know, I have no idea. I'm glad to receive an education from anyone on that.
They should have the boundary line, I think Shooky has the boundary line, should, I'll talk to him tomorrow about it.
Okay.
Okay.
It's not a function, well, I guess I'll need the boundaries of the district
Yeah,
themselves too.
exactly, well, they have a huge,
And
I
then
remember
everything
seeing
else
it.
is the fire protection.
Exactly, I remember seeing it, it's a big map, it's colorful, and all the different,
I need to see that.
yeah.
Okay.
Is the Wellesley Island Fire Department separate from the Orleans? Or is Wellesley Island part of the Orleans?
I believe it is Orleans.
It's Orleans.
It is Orleans.
It is.
It is? So the fire department over on the island is part of the Orleans? Okay.
And that's who we give $30,000 to,
That's why, yeah, okay.
correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Updated cemetery deeds, review and resolution, Bob's been working on these. I've sold a lot of cemetery plots tentatively. Met a lot of people up there, they picked out their plots. I've got everything plotted on a map. I think you might have all seen a Excel spreadsheet I put together a week or 2 ago. I think that Point Vivian alone, I've sold, people have reserved, I guess I better say, have reserved 27 plots up there at $750 a piece. That's what we talked about, we put in our budget, trying to estimate the revenue there. At Highland, I think I reserved for, I wanna say 9 people, and, there's more coming. So, we dug up a deed that Jesse showed us that was how many years old? 20 or 30 or 40, well, we had some of them that were 50 years old. And I just thought that we should take this deed and we should give it to our attorney and let him look at it and let him tell us what it needs. So that's what Bob's working on. I've told the people that our process here is gonna be, we're gonna finalize this deed in the new form that we have it, and we'll all take a look at it with Bob's recommendations.
Right.
And at that point, we can send everybody a bill, and when we get paid, we give them the deed.
Right, I think, and I've been working on rules and regulations for those lots as well. I kind of borrowed some things from, the cemetery in Watertown there.
Yep. See, and I've had half a dozen of these people come to me in the last 2 weeks because I've met with them in the last month or so, and they come to me and they wanna pay me. And I've told them that we're going through this process and the town is gonna actually send a bill when we have the deeds ready and everything like that, and then we'll do the transaction. And the one other thing that has to take place is that Rob Bustler, who I talked to on Monday about this, is gonna go up there and survey, and we're gonna put cornerstones in place all at once for all the plots we have for sale. And I asked Rob about where we stood on that, and he told me that we were on his schedule, and he hoped to get to it the next month. So, it's
Grant, what about people that I have 6 lots in Highland Park, but I never put the cornerstones. Can I go ahead with Kazi and do that on my own? I own the lot.
it would help that would help to mark where you are, I mean,
Yeah, there's 6 of them.
what we've had surveyed up there and what we have on our map for, that are gonna be for sale, one thing we made sure of is we're not near any of the other ones that are there. We've kind of picked areas that are away from where people are and where their stones are and so on and so forth. So we've kind of taken that side of the cemetery that is towards, 26. Okay, not towards the gun club, but the other way.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's kind of where we are, that we've probably got 40 or 60, plots.
I do know years ago, a lot of them just didn't put any stones in for their markers, and, I know I probably should have done that, but, my parents are in one, but is there anybody around here that does that with the stones, the markers?
As far as the cornerstones,
Yes,
you can buy the cornerstones at the monument places. What we're gonna do is we're asking to have somebody make those cornerstones out of concrete. Bob asked me about this earlier, where are they gonna be out? And we've got a couple people that are gonna be contractors that are gonna be giving us prices, because all it is a simple form.
yeah,
Pour
yeah.
concrete in it.
Yeah.
And finish it off or polish it off or whatever you do.
Uh-huh.
So that's what we're gonna do. Something that I've run into recently is I've got people that wanna buy plots in Highland. And they wanna be near their family members.
Yeah,
And where their family members are, we don't know what's going on there. And that's one of the things that Skip tells me is very concerning, and that we need to be careful of, is because that's why we picked this area where we do know what's going on. So we're gonna have to address that situation.
Do we have any kind of map showing like where Tinker's 6 lots are that are vacant?
We do.
Okay.
Who's gonna be issuing the deeds? Is it the clerk? Because you're gonna need to empower her to do that.
We do have to.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you take a deed from anybody, you should make sure that the person who gives it to you
Yeah, I
has
would say
authority.
the clerk would be the best, are you okay with that, Justin?
Does it require, does it require a notary? I'm just saying, then that would be definitely.
Yeah, usually they, I know ours, the old ones that we had, way back in the day.
Yeah, way down. The 2 that I've seen don't have any notary stamp on them. Okay. They don't need to be notarized for purposes of giving a cemetery deed, as long as the person who's issuing them, and I would recommend you just make it the town clerk is the person who issues.
Yep.
And collects the money.
Keep it all in one place, and
Yeah.
Jesse's already got the records, and when people come in and ask about that, I know that.
I mean, you already do marriages and births, so.
Yeah.
Close the deal.
That's the next item on the progression.
You know, let's just kind of get them all.
well, Brent, the town's doing good, 'cause I paid $100 a lot, to Bobby Gill. That was $600 back then.
How many
Probably
years ago?
Pardon me?
How many years ago?
20 years ago. Easy. And, my uncle paid $350 for 2 lots. And back then, but that's good, that's the going rate with.
So what we've done is we've looked at all the cemeteries around here. I don't need to say all, but a lot of them. And that's kind of where we got our rate from. And the other thing that we decided is that we're gonna allow 2 cremations per plot for 1 full body burial. That's how a plot is set up. And in the area, in the county, there's some that let 2, there's some that let 3, and there's some that only allow 1 as far as cremations. So we chose the 2. So that's where we're at.
The trouble we have with the cemeteries is broken down urns and tipped over stones that are leaning like this, and I can't believe there isn't somebody you can get to go in and replace them and do that. But I know that we could get rid of the old broken down stones, but, a stone is either a tree root's gone under it and pushed it up, and seems to be a lot of it in Highland and, Church Street cemeteries.
I know some of the DPW guys have done some work on some stones and have set some stones up and done the Skip Weller method of putting a little crush and run underneath them and packing it. They've done some of that, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Town application at DEC for Fairfield Lake, just, real simple there, that application's been filed with the DEC, that was filed 2 weeks ago. All set on that. The Yellow House in Plessers. Still haven't done anything, I guess, to tear it down, we have to go through the process of putting it out for bid to tear it down. Or do we rent a machine and go in there and tear it down ourselves? And load it into a dumpster?
You can do either if you declare that it's, condemned.
I thought we already went through it, so it was to that stage.
We're at the same conversation we had at the last meeting. I haven't spoken with our coast officials since then.
What, North?
Norris, I haven't spoken with them.
Okay, well, I'll,
Give me a call and we'll go through it.
I thought he was gonna be here, but he's been away. I'll talk to him, tell him.
Have him give me a call.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the one up across from Matt Williams? That's the one up across from Matt Williams?
Yes. Yep. One we've been dealing with for about 6 months or more.
What's the one out on the main road there, it's got an excavator sitting beside it? Across from where Ben Horn's gas station used to be? There's a yellow house there too, it's been vacant. We'll make sure they don't tear down the wrong one.
Yeah, I got it. I don't, I got it external.
You got an excavator sitting next to it?
Yeah, it's been there for a week or two. I know what that's all about.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be that.
Okay, moving on to 22. Mike, do you have anything for Water and Sewer Committee?
Other thing to mention is, by now, everybody probably received their latest water sewer bill, and there should have been a piece of paper in there with it explaining, the changes to your billing that will be coming up with the, the next billing period. If anybody has any questions, on that letter, or what it is we're proposing, we'll be happy anyways. Please stop by and ask.
There's been a few people stop by.
Sandy Caputo and myself are probably the two people
Yep.
that, know the most about it.
Okay. Streetscape Project Bid, so the bids were, a week ago. We had 3 bids. We had a low bidder that was a low bidder by $150,000, and he withdrew his bid, earlier this week. So we had a conference call with Dank and EDR, and they are canvassing the 2 other bidders and trying to decide, because the 2 other bidders, the price was over our estimate and it's over our grant, the money we have available. So he's canvassing those people about the project, and we're gonna make a decision, in the near future as to whether we're gonna pull something out of the project, or whether if we pull something out, that'll allow us to rebid this. And so we're kind of just listening to Dank and EDR and their advice, and they need to talk to the bidders to tell us what they recommend that we do.
I was unaware that they were over. I knew that had that one that was way under.
And the problem we ran into, and Shucky was at the meeting, is that if we took the second bid, we would be $240,000 over what we have available.
That can't happen.
And that would mean, the question was asked to us, being Shucky and myself, would the town and the village be willing to pay $120,000 each more than the 309? And I said, I can only speak for myself. I said, but I don't believe the town board is gonna go for that. And Shucky said the same thing.
Yeah.
So, that's where we're at. It's a nice project, it's a They're doing work, you know, and everybody knows, they're doing playgrounds, they're doing docks, they're doing ramps, they're doing sidewalks. They're doing a lot of things that'll be really nice for the village of Alex Bay. And, you know, we're to the stage that we're at right now, which is, I mean, the project's going out to bid. So we're very close to having this happen, and I think we can work through this deal.
Yep.
And figure it out.
Yep.
So, that's where we're at there. Everybody sees the financial statements here, the presenting and the year-to-date and the highlights. Total revenues were $127,877, expenses were $213,329. Significant revenues were, the $35,000 for the milfoil project, which was grant money, $68,000 of reimbursement from Jefferson County for July and August use of the town personnel of county operations, $13,000 of refuse and garbage fees collected during the month of September, consistent with 2021. We got our sales tax figures today. I think the board members saw that Nicole sent a email out to all of us, and our sales tax was up over the same quarter last year. What was the figure, 90?
I think it was 92.
17%, something like that.
But that was like
How many?
92,000, I don't know what the percentage was.
So our sales tax has been up every quarter. The rest of the 11,000 capital expenditures. Been contacted with the Office of State Comptroller of Fairfield County for special districts, legal and other fees. That's an ongoing deal, but I know Mike reached out to them. If you guys remember the emails a week ago, we had asked him to reach out to them, and he does not have an answer yet from them. Anything else on that report that anybody wants to mention or highlight?
I just have a quick question. Up in the top, you mentioned $68,580 reimbursement from Jefferson County. I'm assuming that's for the shared services?
That's when we do work for the county, mowing roads and.
Right, shared. So, I know we were kind of in the red with them.
Well, we're talking about two different things here.
Okay.
When Nicole and I looked into this thing, we found out there's really 3 accounts with the county.
Okay.
One is the shared services, which we do work for them, it goes on a piece of paper. They do work for us, it goes on a piece of paper. There's a running total of where we stand.
This is not that?
No.
Okay.
The second one is when we do work on their roads or mow their roads or whatever, Mike submits an invoice to them, and they actually pay us.
Okay.
And then the third one is the snow plow.
Well, right, okay. Well, I was just hoping that, that I knew we were in the red on the shared services one, if this would have got us out of that. Okay, but, all right. That would have been good.
You can see we had $6,240 in expenditures for accounting services from Grossman St. Moore, which we talked about earlier. The 18,600. So we are getting paid, starting to get paid on this Streetscape project, because we get to a certain category, we submit the bills, and there's 18,600. Anything else anybody wants to note or ask questions about?
The weed harvesting, they're done for the year, right?
Yeah, they've done the winterized machine, put it away, and the machine's in storage.
Okay, I saw that some of the bills, so that's
Where's it in storage?
limestone.
What is it, Anchor Development? Anchor something?
No, limestone.
Limestone, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, which is where we stored it last year.
Yes.
Okay. Re-levy deadline report. Getting real close to the deadline, that's number 25. He's had a lot of people, Jesse and Nicole, had a lot of people coming in paying their bills. Right now, we have a re-levy list total that's going to the county in the next week. It has to be sent to them, and the dollar amount is $78,148. And the deadline for the town to accept those payments was 4 p.m. today. And as she says, it includes 2 properties which the town cleaned up during the past year. Bob, something that we have an issue with, that I keep getting asked questions about, is that a piece of property will change hands. There'll be a new owner. And when the new owner buys this piece of property, it's got an outstanding bill from the town of Alexandria for water and or sewer. And I know we spoke about this before, because usually the attorneys for the people buying property, or the people buying property, are responsible for going to the town, the utilities, or the taxes, or all the above, and find out have the taxes been paid, have the utilities been paid, and what's going on, okay?
Right.
So we got people that are buying properties in the town of Alexandria that they're not checking about their water and sewer bill.
It's on them.
So, that's
It's on them.
buyer beware.
Right, it's a pretty simple question. I mean, you know, the city, for example, read the
Yeah.
meter, right?
So, then that means there's no problem with us charging a late fee if they don't pay it, and re-levying that amount of water and sewer
That's the real property.
on that, to the new owner.
Right.
That happens to the new owner.
Well, it just happens to be owned by a new owner, you're levying the property.
Exactly,
Well,
that's what I wanted to hear you say, is that,
Follows the property.
you know.
We have had a funny little situation happen, I don't know, at least to one property owner outfit more, is normally what happens is, when property changes hands, they'll prorate it, you know, till where the previous owner, I own up to this day, and it's within the bill quarterly, so from this point on, it's a new owner. So, but what happened, at least in one instance, is there was, you know, like, when the bill got sent out, even though there was no break in time, it appeared that there was a late, you know, the bill was late. So they got a re-levy because of, even though there was no time transpired. Remember we had this conversation? Because I was with you until Sandy and Dale we kinda hashed it out, and there's no real late, but the way the system works, it kinda creates a late.
I don't know what you're saying.
I don't get it either.
No, well, what
Use an example,
Nicole,
somebody buys a house on
No, what Nicole does, in this particular case, I don't know about, I'm not talking about other ones, people are late, I would go along with that, but in this particular case, is, when the property transpired, let's just say it's today, the 20th,
Yeah.
okay, so, the previous owner is current right up to that, and he gets the last bill from that point on. So.
He pays it.
He paid it.
Yeah.
It's all paid.
Yep,
So the new owner is responsible from, say, now today,
yep,
forward.
yep.
Okay, so but what happened in this case, by the time the bill got sent out, a quarter had slipped by. So it appeared it was late, but it wasn't actually late because no time transpired.
See, way I understand what you're saying, so, it happened today, so the new owner gets billed from today forward.
Right.
Our billing period is, so from today forward, that means they're gonna get a bill in January.
Correct.
Okay, that bill in January will have from today forward.
Correct.
Okay, they'll have 30 days from that date in January to pay the bill.
Right, but I'm saying in this case, I think it was really close to a billing period. Okay, so by the time this new owner got a bill, it slipped into the next quarter. So it appeared it was late, but it actually wasn't late.
Sounds like that's our fault.
It's exactly it.
How does it appear to be late and not late?
Cause no time transpired.
I'm not following
Well,
that.
let's just say the 19th, yesterday, I sell my house. So
Okay.
I'm responsible to right up to the 19th. Today, the 20th, the new owner's responsible for it.
Right, but the bill for that period of time is usually one bill, and it goes out in January, right?
No, the new
No, I
owner,
see what you're saying. What you're saying is that there's $100 owed against this property to a bill. Somebody bought it halfway through, so $50 is owed by the
the previous
past owner, $50 is owed by the new owner.
and
That
it's,
$50 that's owed by the new owner, they shouldn't get billed till our next billing though.
right, but in this case, when the date that it happened was very close to a quarterly bill. So the previous owner paid everything he or she was responsible for. The new owner didn't get a bill until like say that the billing period is October 1st, he gets a bill on October 3rd. It arrives in the mail.
Okay.
So now, from the way our system works, he's late. Because it didn't get paid, that little piece didn't get paid. So,
It's usually at closing, in other words,
No,
we don't generate multiple bills because somebody
yes,
sells a house in between.
no, because there is nothing, it's one of those billing things, it has nothing to do with the closing, it's us, it's how we bill. We bill quarterly, and if it ends up in a like this little limbo
That's
period.
a new owner's problem.
No, but my point is, no time transpired at all, he's not late, at all.
I'm not following it, but.
Neither am I.
Yeah.
No. He would be, I'm just saying that if you think about what is occurring here, because the portion he's responsible for, he pays for, but he can't pay for it until he gets the bill.
We don't generate any special bill because the place got sold, right?
Yes, we do.
We do? Why?
They prorate it.
In between,
Prorate it.
When you buy a piece of property in a school tax bill, it gets prorated. School doesn't send a bill out for like part of the year and then the new for the other.
We do.
That's all done at the closing and it's prorated.
Right,
Why are we generating
We get people that call up and they want a final bill.
a final
a
bill.
final bill or a number to put on their closing statement?
Yeah.
Either or.
Either way, yeah.
Yeah.
So it seemed like the number for the closing statement would take care of this whole thing.
Yeah,
It's the-
and usually the attorney will let you know that when they
Right.
contact you. They'll say, okay, we on, today we need to have a final read, call us and let us know what
Yeah.
the final read is, give us the amount, and we're gonna put it in the proceeds.
That's
so that
where
it
the
goes-
problem is, that's where the problem is, because the buyer
Gets
is
the,
not getting the proper information,
Right.
or not asking for the proper information.
right,
Just like Ronnie's saying, because that closing statement, it's all pre-written.
yeah, right,
You know,
and usually that's how it usually is.
Yep.
Right.
But if it falls in this, like, very close to a billing period, it slips over.
Yeah, no, that I'm not familiar with, so.
Well, okay.
Cause I'm really adamant on late, if you're late, you're late, but in this case, there is no late, it didn't happen, except.
Yeah, but we're saying there is, because it's the buyer's responsibility, and Bob does a lot of closings. And it's the buyer's responsibility to know how much of the proration is his.
Right.
And that's usually on the statement,
Yeah.
always on the statement, right?
Yeah,
So is that not the buyer's responsibility to know what portion of it's his?
yes.
Yeah.
And the bill is on the property, not the person.
Exactly, it's on the property.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I'm just explaining how this came to be late, even though no time transpired.
Right,
It wasn't like there was,
understood.
the 19th, and then you suddenly decided, I'm not gonna pay until the 28th, or 28th, yeah.
Came to be late because they didn't take care of business properly. Okay, budget transfer, 26. Budget transfers for the year end 12/31/2021. This is budget transfer number 10, because we're in the 10th month. General A, we're debiting account consultant CE $1,000, we're crediting contingency CE $1,000. This is to cover the cost of the CPA for the monthly reviews. Brush pit personal services debiting $200, refuse garbage personal services crediting $200. Cover extra costs of the brush pit within its own fund. The brush pit's been very busy, and the highway crew's over there twice a week pushing it back. That's why the personal services is up there. Redwood sewer administration, we're debiting $5,400 from contractual expenses. Sanitary sewers contractual expenses, we're crediting $5,400. To cover additional costs of the CPA fees due to the lawsuit.
What lawsuit's that?
Peterson lawsuit.
Okay, just a second.
Right.
Need a motion? Any questions or anything?
No,
Do I need a motion?
make a motion.
Motion by Ron, second by John. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. You got that pink paper there, John, that?
John's got it.
Just sign that and pass it on.
This is the one for the bills, right? That's yours.
Okay, I had people approach me about this, we've run into this before, we know the process for this is a deal again. And I'm gonna have to talk to Mike Tibbles about it, but the town owns a bunch of land in Plessis where they go into that pit, John, or where we store stuff, off of Route 26.
Yep.
You go past the flat rock and you go right.
Yep.
Okay, and we own a bunch of land there. Well, we own a bunch of land on the road too. I believe we own land on both sides of the access road to that pit. There's a house on one side of that access road, and they would like to buy a small piece of land or a piece of land next to their property that the town owns.
Can we just sell it, we have to bid it?
We have to go through the process that we've gone through already. First of all, a survey, description.
Just like we did with the Randall.
Yeah.
Except, let's just make sure they don't already own it.
So, I guess the first thing I'll do is everybody tells me to look into this. I'll go, talk to Mike Tibbles, go over there and take a look at that road, see if this thing is, if we have use for it, or if it's a piece of land that we should never sell, or what the deal may be.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
And then we'll go from there, and I'll report to you at the next meeting.
Yep.
Okay? Executive session.
Okay, time out. We need to.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, as town clerk, I am, giving the board the 2022 tentative budget as of right now.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, there you go. John?
And you make this budget available at the office, and I'll put it on the website.
Okay, so I'm gonna read it in full. The town board will review the tentative budget, which I just gave, and makes any changes that it deems necessary, consistent with the law. In reviewing the tentative budget, the town board may call upon the department heads to explain their estimates. Review of the tentative budget may be adjourned and continued at subsequent meetings, but take care not to string this out too long. Deadlines further along that must be met, okay? So, once the town board has concluded its review of the tentative budget, it needs to approve the tentative budget and any changes made thereto by resolution. The tentative budget, so adopted by the town board, becomes the preliminary budget. The preliminary budget is filed with the town clerk, and the town clerk makes as many copies as the preliminary available. So, what that means is that you all reviewed it?
We have,
Okay, because you have decided, because earlier you had put in here that you were going to have the public hearing for November 3rd. So that means that you need to discuss this tentative budget, and that you need to adopt the preliminary, and when it turns into preliminary, that is when it will be given to the public to see, and also put into the paper stating as such.
Okay, so, but
So
when
that they
we
have
get
time
preliminary,
for the public
we still have the ability to change the budget, correct?
Of course, that's why you're gonna have the public hearing. Okay?
So we have to do this
You have to do
tonight.
that tonight.
What, we have to what?
You'll have to adopt
The preliminary.
the tentative to turn it
To
into
make
the
the third.
preliminary.
Yeah. One of the things that I've run into and talked to about is that we have to advertise the salaries or wages of the elected officials.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and she has to advertise those by what date?
Well, if you're gonna have the public hearing on November 3rd, it has to go out right away.
Okay,
After tonight, you adopt the preliminary.
so what I've run into is we advertise those wages,
Mhm.
okay, but we're still allowed to change the budget from here on forward. If we change the budget numbers for some of those those wages that we've advertised, I've been told, I don't know this, I've been told that that's illegal, that we can't change
I
it.
don't believe so, because you're turning this tentative budget into the preliminary.
Yep,
At that point, the public at that point can see it, and that's the reason that you're gonna come together for the public hearing. So if anyone has any good advice or anything that this board takes in consideration, those can that makes the changes at that point.
so you don't know of anything.
This is just preliminary.
You don't know of anything that says that we can't change those advertised wages.
Absolutely.
Right.
So we can.
That's why it's called preliminary.
That's why you hold a public hearing, and.
Right, and until it's-
Change them up, you do it at your own risk.
Until it's final,
Exactly.
right.
I was gonna say, because I've read the same book that Jesse's reading it out of, the clerk's book, and it tells you that you can change the things up, that's what the public hearing's all about.
Absolutely.
You can change anything at any time until you adopt it.
That's right.
Once you adopt it, it's set in stone.
You got it.
So I just wanna make
Unless you
clear
let it.
to the public and to the people that have told me that you can't change those wages, that you can.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's my only.
We're just walking in, telling people this is what the preliminary is saying, and from there, you can have the public hearing.
So do we need a motion?
Yes.
Is everybody ready to adopt that tonight? Okay.
I'll move.
Motion by Ron to make the tentative budget the preliminary budget.
That's fine.
Second by Mike.
Yep.
Any discussion? All those in regular vote or what? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? None.
Thank you.
So that
Thank you,
gives
Jesse.
her the ability to do her thing.
Okay, and we're going into executive session for litigation. And we still have,
Wait till November 3rd.
we're talking about sealed bids for the gas and everything else. Do we have to do a resolution for that? Or do a
You
motion?
just have to state that you're going to be public.
So it's just, I need a motion
A motion to publish.
need a motion to allow Jesse to prepare the documents to send out the bids for the fuel oil and everything else that we do every year. Motion by Ron, second by John. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
That would be all done then.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, a motion's going to send.
Discuss collective negotiations and pending litigation.
Executive session, need a motion to discuss pending litigation and
Negotiations.
collective negotiations. Make that motion. Motion by John, second by Ron. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed,
There you go. You want me to hold on to this first 10
I know where it's coming from about the salary thing.
No, we didn't, well, we could have said a quarter.
You wanna know?
Never mind.
I bet you, I guess we had to wrap like that.
Thank you.
I want that, yeah.
That's a little scary. You know me that well, Bob.
Well, that's all right, we got it all done.
We have all the signatures we need on that paper, John? I'm doing good, right? No, you're very good.
Thank you so much for that.
No problem, you don't need me for anything, right? You're good?
Think so.
Thank you, sir, of course. Sure, I love you, every time I need you, you're there. I really appreciate it.
Stick around here.